I didn't flinch as Lily handed me the card, even though something in her tiny hands pressed it into mine with unusual urgency. "For you, Mommy," she said, her voice lilting like a bell, bright and innocent. I wanted to smile, wanted to cradle her in relief and warmth, but my instincts screamed at me to pause. The envelope was small, unassuming, the kind a 5-year-old could easily carry, yet the weight in my hands felt heavier than it should. I tore it open. Inside was not the scribbled mess of hearts and crooked letters I expected. It was neat, perfect, adult handwriting, deliberate, cold. "She is not your daughter. The truth will destroy you." The words burned into me, scorching my chest, freezing my blood. My daughter's bright eyes looked up at me, unaware, trusting. My heart wanted to leap forward and shield her, but my mind was already racing. Someone had written this. Someone had planned this. I clutched the card, knuckles white. Was it a prank? Blackmail? A cruel, twisted joke? Or the impossible, terrifying truth? I didn't know. And yet, deep in my bones, I felt it. Whatever it was, I would not flinch. I would face it. I would protect her, because that's what a mother does. And no one, not even someone who claimed to know our family secrets, would take my daughter from me. I placed the card on the counter, trying to steady my racing thoughts. Every line, every curve of the letters screamed intention. Someone had written this deliberately, knowing exactly how it would hit me. It wasn't random. It was calculated. My instincts prickled, the familiar tug of danger, and I felt a cold clarity settle over me. Panic would solve nothing. Only action would. I've always trusted my instincts. Maybe it's a trait I inherited. Or maybe life taught me the hard way. Fear is a signal, not a jailer. Over the years, I'd learned to notice what others overlooked. The small inconsistencies, the tiny anomalies, the silent whispers behind ordinary events. Years of experience as a private investigator in unofficial capacities had trained me to analyze patterns, connect dots, and act decisively. And now, all of that focus had a single purpose: protecting Lily. I photographed the card, adjusting the light to reveal the subtle textures of the paper, the ink's age, its pressure against the fibers. I ran it through software, comparing it to old family letters I'd kept, making careful notes on everything. The angles of the letters, the spacing, the unusual loops in certain words. Whoever wrote this had planned it long ago. It wasn't just a threat. It was a game. And I was its target. Lily skipped past me, humming a song about sunshine and cupcakes, blissfully unaware of the storm that had just entered our lives. Watching her, I felt the familiar tight knot of guilt and resolve. She had to stay innocent. She had to stay safe. But I would also uncover the truth. Whoever thought they could manipulate my family underestimated me. I had no intention of letting them win. I moved with methodical precision. The card was carefully scanned under magnification. Ink samples were compared to known correspondence. Paper fibers were examined for age and composition. Each step sharpened my focus. Fear was present, but I refused to let it dominate me. It was a tool, a motivator, a reminder that the stakes were real. I thought of Mark, my ex-husband. Could this be him? It didn't feel right, but I cataloged every interaction, every unusual message over the past months. Then my thoughts drifted to my family, sisters, cousins, even my mother. Who would know enough? Who would have the patience to plan something like this? Every moment I'd dismissed as trivial, every sideways glance, every cryptic text, took on new weight. Patterns emerged, shadows of possibility. The quiet strength that had always defined me, the ability to stay calm when others panic, to assess before acting, to strike with precision when the moment demanded it, was now my greatest asset. I could feel it settling over me like armor. Lily was my priority. The truth would come, but only on my terms. I packed a small kit of essentials: scanner, magnifying glass, UV light, laptop, and notebook. If there was a secret hidden in that card, I would uncover it. I ran through contingencies in my head. If the writer intended to scare me, they hadn't counted on preparation. If it was a trap, I would navigate it. If it was the truth, I would face it with every ounce of strength I possessed. The sunlight fell across the counter, casting the card in stark, unforgiving clarity. I picked it up again and studied it one last time. This was the start of something bigger, something I had to confront, something I had to outmaneuver. And I had no choice, because being a mother wasn't just about love. It was about vigilance, about courage under pressure, about the relentless will to protect the life you've created. And whatever storm this card had brought into our lives, I would face it head on. I would uncover the truth. I would protect Lily. And no one, not even the person who had written this, would outsmart me. By mid-afternoon, Jenna arrived, her familiar presence immediately grounding me. Best friend, confidant, strategist. She had always been the calm to my storm, the one who helped me think clearly when panic threatened to take over. She stepped into the kitchen, eyes scanning the card on the counter and the tight lines of my face. "Claire," she said softly, "something's wrong. I can feel it just by looking at you." I handed her the card, watching her reaction carefully. Jenna didn't flinch. She didn't gasp or question my composure. She examined it methodically, tilting it to the light, tracing the letters with a practiced finger. "This isn't a child's handwriting," she murmured. "Someone planned this. Someone who knows your family, knows your routines. The question is why." I felt a surge of relief at her clarity. Fear was still there, pulsing beneath my ribs. But now it had a companion in logic. Together we could act instead of react. I laid out the tools I'd gathered: scanner, magnifying lenses, UV light, laptop, and summarized my preliminary analysis. "The ink isn't fresh," I explained. "The paper is old, prepared in advance. Whoever wrote this wasn't improvising. They were anticipating the exact moment I'd open it." Jenna nodded, her eyes sharp. "So this isn't just a threat. It's orchestration, and Lily? She's a pawn." My jaw tightened. "Exactly. And I'm not letting anyone manipulate her innocence. But I need a plan. I need evidence. And I need to understand who's behind this before they make their next move." She leaned against the counter, arms crossed but posture relaxed, offering calm and reassurance. "Then we start with what we know. Examine the card, track the ink, paper, handwriting, then the attic, anything hidden, anything meant to be found later. We document everything. No assumptions, no emotional reactions, just facts, patterns, and strategy." I allowed myself a small smile, feeling the familiar surge of control. Jenna's presence didn't make the fear disappear. It sharpened it into something actionable. Together we would uncover the truth. Together we would protect Lily. And together we would ensure whoever had tried to manipulate our lives learned the hard way that I was not someone to be underestimated. I grabbed my flashlight, and Jenna followed, a steady anchor beside me. Whatever lay ahead in the attic or in the twisted secrets of our family, we would face it as a team, brains and courage aligned. The attic stairs creaked under our weight as Jenna and I ascended, each step echoing in the empty house. The air was thick with dust, carrying the faint scent of old wood and forgotten memories. My flashlight cut through the shadows, revealing stacks of boxes, dusty trunks, and cobwebbed corners. Every inch of this space felt like a silent witness to decades of secrets, and I knew instinctively that the card was only the beginning. I moved deliberately, scanning the shelves, peering into every corner. Then, tucked behind a stack of yellowed photo albums, I saw it. A plain cardboard box, taped shut, labeled simply, "Do not open." My pulse quickened. Whoever had written the card had anticipated this discovery. Whoever had orchestrated this had planned the moment I found this box with meticulous precision. "Claire, that box," Jenna said softly, her voice tense. "It feels deliberate, Like someone wants you to see it. I nodded, heart steadying despite the adrenaline coursing through me. I carefully removed the tape and opened the lid. Inside were dozens of letters, each one tied with a faded ribbon, yellowed with age. The handwriting matched the card perfectly. Calm, controlled, precise, and each letter bore a date in the future. I picked one up, hands trembling just slightly. The words stared back at me. On Mother's Day 2025, you will read this, and you will finally understand who I am. My breath caught. Someone had predicted this day, this moment, down to the exact detail. The realization made my stomach twist. I was not just dealing with a threat. I was dealing with someone who had orchestrated a plan for years, maybe decades. Jenna leaned over my shoulder, eyes scanning the letters. They're not just threatening you. They're controlling the narrative. Lily, she's involved, whether she knows it or not. I swallowed hard, nodding. The letters contained predictions, instructions, warnings. Every page revealing knowledge only a family insider could have. Every detail suggested meticulous observation, foresight, and patience. Someone had been playing a long game, and we were only just entering it. I photographed each letter, catalogued the dates, and began noting patterns. We need to trace the ink, check the paper composition, cross-reference it with family correspondence, I said. We need evidence if this goes further. Jenna pulled out her tablet and began recording metadata, documenting everything. No assumptions, she said, voice steady. No emotional reactions. Just facts, timelines, and patterns. That's how we gain control. I nodded, feeling the surge of focus sharpen every thought. The fear was still there, humming at the edges, but it had been harnessed. We weren't just reacting, we were strategizing. Every movement, every note, every observation became part of a calculated response. Hours passed as we worked in silence, punctuated only by whispered observations and the occasional sound of shifting boxes. Finally, I leaned back, examining our progress. We had a pattern, a timeline, and most importantly, a starting point for uncovering the person behind these letters. Tomorrow, I said quietly, we start confronting the past. We follow the trail they left for us. Jenna reached out, placing her hand on mine. We'll do it together, step by step. Nothing will catch us off guard. I nodded, heart steady now, mind already planning. Whoever had orchestrated this had underestimated one thing: a mother's determination, sharpened by intelligence, courage, and love. And I would use every ounce of that to protect Lily and to uncover the truth. The box of letters remained open on the attic floor, a silent challenge, and I was ready to accept it. The drive to Elena's house felt longer than it should. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly, my knuckles whitened, but my mind was calm, sharp, and calculating. Jenna rode shotgun, silent, her eyes scanning every passing shadow, every rear-view reflection, as if anticipating an ambush. Elena's home was quiet when we arrived. Too quiet. The scent of vanilla from her kitchen faintly tickled my senses. A domestic calm that belied the storm I was about to unleash. I stepped out, taking a steadying breath. The letters, the card, the attic discovery, they all led here. And I knew one thing. Elena had counted on me being unprepared, emotional, hesitant. She had underestimated me. I rang the doorbell. No answer. I rang again. My heart beat steadily. Whoever thought I would flinch was already losing. The door opened slowly, and there she stood. Elena, my sister, calm, poised, beautiful, in a way that made her dangerous. Her eyes glimmered with recognition and a faint amusement. Claire, she said softly, as though welcoming me into a trap I couldn't see. I wondered when you'd arrive. Why, Elena? I asked, voice low but steady, almost a whisper. Why manipulate my daughter? Why hide the truth for so long? Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Because the truth isn't yours to control, Claire. You weren't ready?" I stepped inside, carrying the box of letters from the attic like a shield. "Ready?" I spat the word, letting it land heavy between us. "She's a child, Elena. You've manipulated her, orchestrated her life, predicted our every move, written letters to control us. That's beyond cruel. It's psychotic." Her calm demeanor didn't falter. She folded her arms, leaning slightly against the countertop, exuding the confidence of someone who had plotted this for years. "It's not malice," she said, voice soft, almost hypnotic. "It's preparation. I wanted you to survive it, to understand the pattern before it broke you." I slammed the first bundle of letters onto the table. Dust rose faintly into the air, motes catching the afternoon light. I opened one, then another, showing her every prediction, every date, every orchestrated moment. "You thought this would intimidate me?" I asked, my voice rising. "You thought hiding in your carefully constructed web would make me powerless?" Elena's hand moved to the edge of the table, almost instinctively toward the letters. "You still don't see the whole picture," she said. "This was all meant to prepare you, to protect Lily, to guide you." I froze, watching her carefully, waiting for any tell. But I couldn't afford hesitation, not now, not ever. Her hand darted to knock over the letters. My reflexes kicked in. I intercepted, gripping her wrist, twisting just enough to prevent the destruction without causing harm. My heart pounded, adrenaline sharpening every sense. "Stop," I said, voice calm, controlled but deadly in its steadiness. "You miscalculated. You underestimated the one person who would protect her at any cost. Me." Her eyes widened ever so slightly, a crack in the carefully maintained mask. "That was all I needed." I pressed forward, using her brief lapse to my advantage. One bundle of letters was now safely in my possession, out of her reach. "You thought you could control the narrative, dictate the story," I continued, laying out more evidence. "But I've studied your moves, traced your steps, uncovered your patterns. Every prediction, every attempt to manipulate us, every plan you hid in these letters, it ends today." Her lips trembled slightly, a fleeting expression of fear hidden beneath her practiced calm. "You don't understand," she whispered. "You're only seeing what I wanted you to see." I didn't flinch. I knew better than to be distracted by psychological games. I held up the letters, scanned each one, letting them fall open like traps laid bare. "I understand more than you think. Every move, every word, every intention. I see it all, and Lily remains untouched. She will not be your pawn." Elena's posture faltered further. "Claire, you could destroy everything I've worked for." "You already tried," I said firmly, voice low and unwavering. "You underestimated me, but I've calculated every possibility. I've prepared, I've planned, and I've protected the most important thing. My daughter. You're out of moves." She recoiled, and I could see the realization flicker in her eyes. Her years of meticulous planning, her anticipation of my reactions, had been outmaneuvered by a combination of intelligence, resourcefulness, and maternal instinct. I pressed the advantage. "This ends now. You can either walk away and let us live in peace, or I expose everything. The letters, the manipulation, every calculated act. You made your choices. Now it's my turn." For a moment, Elena stared at me, silent, calculating. Then she turned away, defeated, her composure crumbling like brittle paper. I allowed myself a quiet sigh. The battle wasn't over. But the first major confrontation, the one that tested every ounce of my strength and resolve, was complete. I gathered the letters, carefully sealing them in evidence bags I'd brought. Jenna, silent but alert, gave me a reassuring nod. Together we had faced the orchestrator, the manipulator, the one who had tried to control our lives, and we had stood unbroken. As we left Elena's house, I felt a surge of clarity and control. This confrontation had not just been about exposing deception. It had been a testament to strategy, courage, and unwavering protection. I had won, not through anger or brute force, but through intelligence, foresight, and love. The qualities that made me not just a mother, but a force no one could outmaneuver. And I knew, as we drove home with the evidence secured and the storm temporarily held at bay, that the final battles, the ones that would test our hearts and minds, were still ahead. But I was ready, always ready. The house was quiet when we returned, but I didn't relax. Quiet can be dangerous. It's the silence before a storm. Lily was in her room, playing with her blocks, blissfully unaware of the chaos that had just unfolded. My heart swelled with both love and urgency. She had to remain untouched. I carefully set the box of letters on the dining table, scanning the room, checking doors, windows, and every possible entry point. Whoever had orchestrated this might have left more traps, more manipulations. I couldn't take a single chance. Jenna crouched beside me, whispering, "We have what we need, but don't underestimate her. Elena may try one last move." I nodded, determination settling like steel in my chest. "Then we stay vigilant, and we protect her no matter what." The minutes stretched like hours. Then the first subtle sound reached me. The faint click of a lock I hadn't recognized. A shadow moving in the hallway. My reflexes flared. I didn't hesitate. I moved to the door, shielding Lily instinctively. Jenna followed, tense but calm. A figure appeared. Elena. Her face was pale, lips pressed tight, but her posture, rigid and defensive, betrayed a flicker of fear. She had come one last time, perhaps to intimidate, perhaps to reclaim control. "I warned you," she whispered, voice strained. "You don't understand what you're doing." I stepped forward, eyes steady. "I understand enough. Step back. Leave now or I expose everything. Your manipulations, your letters, every plan you wrote to control my daughter's life. It ends today." She hesitated and I seized the moment. Slowly, deliberately, I moved Lily out of the line of sight, wrapping her in a hug, making her invisible to the threat. My mind raced, every scenario playing out in milliseconds. Elena's expression faltered further. Her power, built over years of manipulation, crumbled under the force of preparation, intelligence, and maternal instinct. She backed away, her hands trembling slightly. "You've already lost," I said, calm but resolute. "No tricks, no games. You cannot touch her." And she turned, slowly, retreating, finally understanding that the battle was over. My chest heaved, not from fear but from the sheer relief and strength coursing through me. Lily looked up, eyes wide, sensing tension but unaware of its depth. "Mommy?" she asked softly. "Yes, sweetheart," I whispered, hugging her tight. "Everything is okay now. Mommy's got you." In that moment, the storm passed. The immediate threat had been neutralized, and I had acted decisively, using intelligence, strategy, and courage to protect the most important person in my life. The letters were secured, the manipulator retreating, and Lily's innocence preserved. I exhaled, realizing that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it. And today, my fear had been the fuel that ensured my daughter's safety. The sun had begun to set, casting warm amber light across the living room, bathing the letters, the box, and our carefully documented evidence in a calm glow. For the first time in days, I allowed myself a moment to breathe, to absorb the fact that Lily was safe. The storm that had threatened to tear our lives apart had passed, at least for now, and I had faced it head on. I knelt beside Lily on the couch, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You're safe, my love," I whispered, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead. Her small hands clutched mine, and in her eyes I saw the unshakable trust that had guided every decision I'd made. Protecting that trust had been my mission from the start, and I had succeeded. Jenna leaned against the door frame, arms crossed but eyes soft, offering silent acknowledgement of the battle we had fought together. "You did it," she said simply, and I allowed myself the faintest smile. It wasn't boastful, but quiet affirmation, proof that preparation, intelligence, and courage had won the day. I began the careful process of organizing the letters, photographing them, labeling them, and storing them safely. Each piece of evidence was more than proof. It was a symbol of the manipulations we had survived, a reminder that knowledge and vigilance are as powerful as any weapon. Whoever had orchestrated this had underestimated the force of a mother's determination. As I worked, my mind reflected on the path that had led me here. The instinct to pause when I first read the card, the methodical gathering of evidence, the patient analysis with Jenna, the confrontations with Elena that required strategy and courage. Every moment had demanded strength, intelligence, and resilience, and I had met it all. Lily climbed onto my lap, her small arms wrapping around me. "Mommy, will she come back?" she asked softly. I held her tighter, letting her feel my heartbeat. "No, sweetheart," I said firmly. "We are safe. You are safe. And I will always protect you, no matter what." There was a quiet triumph in that moment, not one of revenge but of empowerment. I had faced deception, betrayal, and fear, and I had emerged not only unbroken but stronger. I realized then that courage isn't about grand gestures. It's about measured action, vigilance, and unwavering love. As dusk turned to night, I looked around our home, the haven I had fought to preserve, and felt a surge of clarity and resolve. This chapter was closed. The manipulations, the hidden agendas, and the threats had been met with strategy, intelligence, and decisive action. And in their place remained trust, safety, and the unshakable bond between a mother and her daughter. I glanced at Jenna, who offered a reassuring nod. Together we had navigated the storm, and as I watched Lily's serene face, I knew that the lessons of vigilance, courage, and resilience would guide me long after this day. I was not just a survivor. I was empowered, prepared, and unyielding. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I would face them with clarity and strength, because protecting her and standing firm in the face of deception had shown me the full measure of who I was, and that realization, silent, steady, and unshakable, was the truest victory of all. The house was quiet now, finally. Lily's laughter drifted from her bedroom as she played with her blocks, innocent and free. Watching her, I felt the weight of the past days lift slightly. Not entirely gone, but transformed. The storm had tested every part of me, my instincts, my intelligence, my courage, and my unwavering love. And through it all, I had discovered something vital. Strength is not the absence of fear, but the clarity to act despite it. I reflected on how close we had come to losing control, to being manipulated, to allowing someone else's hidden agendas to dictate our lives. Yet, strategy, preparation, and vigilance had carried me through. Each careful step, from analyzing the card to confronting Elena, had reminded me that fear is a tool, not a master. My mind, my resolve, my maternal instinct, they were all weapons in the battle to protect what mattered most. Jenna had been my anchor, our collaboration, a testament to the power of trust and shared intellect. But it was love for Lily that had fueled every decision, every calculated move. I realized that courage is quiet. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's in the meticulous analysis, the patient planning, the unwavering protection of someone vulnerable, yet precious. As I stood in the living room, letting the golden evening light spill over the evidence carefully secured, I understood something else too. The truths we fear are not always meant to destroy us. Sometimes they reveal our own strength, resilience, and the depths of what we are willing to fight for. I had faced deception, betrayal, and uncertainty, and emerged not broken, but empowered. I was a mother, yes, but also a strategist, a protector, a force that no scheme could dismantle. And in that realization I found not only relief, but clarity. Whatever challenges the future holds, I will face them as I face this storm. Steady, determined, and unyielding. Because resilience is not a moment. It's a choice, and I choose it every day. For her, for me, and for the life we will protect together. Wow, what a journey! If you felt the tension, the suspense, and the twists right alongside Claire, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story like this. I want to know, what part shocked you the most? Comment below and share your thoughts. I love reading your reactions. Also, if you're watching this right now, let me know what time it is where you are. There's something exciting about seeing how far and wide these stories reach. And of course, like this video if you enjoyed the suspense, and share it with friends who love thrilling, emotional stories. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this adventure. Remember, the next story could be even darker, even twistier. So stay tuned. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and I'll see you in the next story.